Welcome to UWA Underground episode 20. Yes, it's a big occasion, and with this big occasion comes a shoot interview.
A very intense, personal shoot interview with the owner, proprietor, if you will, of Universal Wrestling Alliance, Dave Dalton himself.
Really?
As well, it's Moonshine, Terry Moonshine Mathis sitting down for a one-on-one with Dave.
And I hope I get to ask a question too.
I think it's going to be open forum, so we'll have to wait and see. But just so you folks know, this is candid. It's off the record, so there may be graphic content, parental advisory, if you will. There will be swearing. There will be cursing. There may be nudity. Luckily, no nudity.
No. Just like the hardcore title belt. Anyway,
I don't think this episode's going to be worth watching.
let's go straight to the interview. We don't need to hear Donnie talk anymore.
Intro.
Roll
the intro.
Where's Twiggy?
Who cares? Roll the intro.
Hello everyone, my name is Matthew Terry, aka Terry Mathis. You may not know this man. This man's name is Dave Clayton. He is the head trainer at Battleground Academy, as well he is the owner and operator of the Universal Wrestling Alliance. The reason you may not know this man is that in the past 2 years, this man, although the owner of the company, has stepped inside of a UWA ring in front of a UWA crowd only 5 times. He does that because he does not want to be in the spotlight. He chooses not to be the one in everyone's eye. This shoot interview is a one-time deal. Something has gotten onto his mind and he wants to get it off his chest. So first thing first, the reason we're here is to cover an article that was posted on Slam Wrestling February 14th of this year. It pertains to 2 people, Michael LeDuc and Stephanie Landry, a.k.a. Michael Von Payton and Misty Haven. Now, before we get into this, why don't you give us a little history between the 3 of you?
Sure. I train the 2 aforementioned bodies. Way back, I guess we'd be looking somewhere around. I guess we started training with them around '99, and we were over in a little warehouse over in the Quebec side. I just had Michael, and I had another student named Sean Demers. And we were out there for a little bit, and we moved it into Cars, Ontario, where we probably resided for about 2 years up in there. Towards the ending of the 2 years that we were at the gym, Mike and Sean and Steph expressed interest in working for another promotion that was in the area. I was very hesitant about it just because I knew the people in the promotion, and although in the short term it probably would give them some benefit to their careers, in the long term it would be the biggest detriment to their careers. And I knew this. Unfortunately it's not that I'm psychic or anything, it's just hindsight. I've been doing this for about 15 years now, and this is a path that I've already experienced, and I've always tried to guide my students the best that I could about the industry and the pitfalls that are involved along the way. And because of that, that's one of the reasons that I took special offense to some of the things that were said in the article that was mentioned earlier by Terry that we're going to discuss today. Henceforth, that's why we're doing this shoot. Like Terry said, I really have no interest in being in the spotlight. There's just way too much work running the school and the company and trying to put these shows on and trying to bring the best possible product that I can to the area and in all areas that we bring our show into. There was a time when I led the company and I was probably the I'm not gonna pull punches. I was probably top 2 or top 3 talent anyways that I've had in here. As far as working ability and getting over with a crowd, I don't think anybody touched me in the last 5 years prior to me leaving. Now that I've toted my own horn, and that's the last you'll hear of that, we get back to again trying to put the shows on and trying to teach the students the ins and outs of this industry, the right from the wrong. And a lot of times, they have to experience things and hear things and do things that they just don't like. But unfortunately, that's part of the industry. So, having said that, I'd like to address this as quickly as we can, because like I said, I'm not much for camera time anymore. I just want to straighten this out and move on.
All right. Another individual maybe I'd like to touch on quickly is Wayne Carter.
I've known Wayne for a few years now. I'll be perfectly honest. I think Wayne, probably put his 2 cents in. It's a free country, but I'll be the first one to say that Wayne doesn't have the same experiences that I do. He can cliche all he wants with using the former trainer of Alice Knowles Body Slammers in Lima, Ohio. Bro, if it gets to the point where you got to throw somebody else's name out there to try and boost your own association, maybe you're just living the dream a little bit yourself. When you actually get your feet wet and really do this for real, this is not a dream, it's a job. And it's a job with good days and with bad days, with good coworkers and with shitty coworkers. Good times and bad times. And the worst thing that you can do to somebody that's young and inexperienced is to lead them or give them information, which, although I'm sure it was never your intention to do wrong by them, brother, you got to spend a little bit more time and realize that there's a lot more to this than thinking you're going to walk in and take things over, because the people that you're associating with don't have as much knowledge as you do. It's not always the way.
All right, let's get on to this article. As I said, the article was written, or was posted, February 14th, Valentine's Day, an indie love story
Right.
between Landry and the Duke.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it covers their long-standing relationship in wrestling up to their wedding.
Right.
Now, in the middle, you are mentioned as their trainer, as their first promoter. Then Wayne Kreiderman states in the article, I called up and asked if I could sit and watch. Basically, Mike started asking me questions from there, and I started building. So Wayne called you up and asked you to sit in.
Not that I'm aware of. You just usually popped in and whatever it would be, but hey, that's the way you want to write it. Write it.
All right. Now, this is the things that you take exception to. Okay? We're going to take these as quotes from the article. Exactly. The most important advice Kreiderman gave Haven and Peyton was that they needed to seek more bookings with other promotions if they truly want to expand their careers. That's by the author of the article. From Kreiderman. They wanted to get better, and that's why they started asking questions. The only guidance I gave them was that this is the way the business is as I was taught. There was no difference between me and them, except that they had isolated to an area for no other fault but that they weren't told to. They were solid in the ring even then, and so that's why I couldn't understand why they hadn't worked anywhere else. As I said, that's from Wayne Kreiderman. From Misty Haven. We didn't know any different. Admitted Haven when it came to their naivety towards working for other independent promotions. We thought it was the normal way for proceeding, career-wise. We were always being told that we were not ready to leave the promotion, and that was after 2.5 years. This new concept of getting work was actually introduced to us at the training school by Wayne Kreiderman. We quickly realized, what the hell are we doing here? If it weren't for Kreiderman, I wouldn't have gotten my first match. The article mentions that Dalton only allowed Haven to wrestle once on his shows. She goes on to say it was a huge awakening. From Michael Payton. If you don't know that there's anything else out there and you're led to believe that this is the only thing, then you don't really go looking too hard for anything else. Every ounce of knowledge that we had in this business to that point was supplied by him, referring to you. You never assume that your teacher is going to lead you in the wrong direction. Those are 3 quotes from those 3 people, and I'm going to let you go off. Or not go off, but I'm going to let you respond.
Yeah, because we've pushed this interview off as long as we have, I don't have to go off anymore. It's already out of my system. Wow, I should have had I really should have had somebody here with a pen and paper, because I couldn't even count all the lies that were in those last 3 paragraphs, or 4 paragraphs, but I'll try to address them. Actually, let's just group the whole damn thing together, because they're pretty much saying the same stuff. They weren't educated properly. They weren't told how the business operates. They were naive to it all, and that I was insistent that they stay with my promotion because I felt that they just weren't ready to be on the road. Whatever. Let's see, was this before or after you did all the road trips down to Maine to work for Tony Atlas, which I had said would probably be a great connection, seeing he had all that time in with New York, and I thought he'd still be connected. Turned out that he wasn't. Was this before or after the phone call that I got Sunday night after you guys did your road trip down to Maine, thanking me for all the time that I had taken with you because your skill level was so much higher than the people that you were working with down there? But I also explained that to you a number of times, that the talent levels will vary depending on the training which they've gotten, depending on how much time they have in the ring. Styles will vary, and I tried to explain all of this to you, and I thought that we had a pretty good knowledge as to where you were going. Considering you were all marks when you came there, and are still marks, and I can very confidently say that just because you would print an article like this, which was supposed to be, I guess, a love story and wrestling combined. You read this thing, there is absolutely no reason to mention me here, none whatsoever. I have never put anything in print bad about you guys, but we will get to it, because seeing as you want to throw the gauntlet down, let's address it, let's get it over with. You can rebuttal all you want on the message boards, and then you want to call me and leave messages or send me emails, go right the hell ahead, okay? Because I already ran through this shit with you guys a few years ago when this all went down, and I was trying to get a hold of you. You know what I mean? So feel free. I'm not going to say anything that I'm not scared to say to your face. I've said that all along. All right, there's nobody, and I mean fucking nobody, all right, that I take a back seat to when it comes to this industry within this area. All right, I told you how it was. The fact that you already knew how the independent scene worked because you had already traveled makes all of those statements just horseshit. As far as me not letting you go and keeping you for 2.5 years and not allowing you out of the nest, I think it was me that told you that it was time for you to actually go and to go out and seek the work. That's why you went to Maine. As far as Wayne being able to guide them, I don't remember Wayne having a tremendous career in here, getting a ton of bookings or working for a huge number of promotions. Although he says he did. I don't really have any proof. But hey, who am I? You know? You know, the whole thing, to me, there's no more bad blood as far as I'm concerned, had this not been written, because I really don't care anymore. You've already pretty much toasted your careers. The main reason I did not want you to go over to Dan was because I had already been there, and I'd already done work with him, and I know he's a cancer to the industry. Now, he's got his own little thing over there, and you know what, Dan? Tremendous. Good for you. You know what I mean? I'm legitimately happy, because as long as you stay over there and God, maybe you won't do any more damage to the whole thing, you know, and give me a chance to grow and do what I gotta do. But, I mean, by going there, you isolated yourselves to an area which you claim that I was doing to you. You did it to yourselves. You went over, you seen that big screen that first night, you seen 300 people there, it was a nice building, you thought, oh my God, here it is, and here we go. We've arrived and we're at the big time, and Gino Brito was involved in it, and a couple of names. And when you get right down and you've spent some time in this industry, you'll realize that names don't mean jack. They're just bodies. If people want to believe in them and want to see them as draws, great. And if they don't, then they're nothing more. All right? If Gino Brito still had all the contacts that he had, he could probably get it up and running again. But the industry has changed, and I've always said that from 1990 to 2005. That was 15 years ago. And my God, I don't even know when International went down. In all honesty, I think it was late 80s. Okay? Gino could get that thing up and going again. He would have had it up and going again. All right? The main company that you get to see here in North America is the New York-based company, the World Wrestling Entertainment. And if you want to get a job with them, you got to be working in the States. All right? I told you in the beginning, keep your day job, work on the weekends, because that's the way a lot of people get into it, because it would give you a chance to see if it's really what you wanted to do. You went on one trip, maybe two, okay? Because I think you went down to Windsor too. And I remember reading a papered article that Tim Baines wrote. And Steph was saying, you know, we drove 20-some hours one weekend or 30-some hours to wrestle here and to wrestle there, and then we came home and we went back to our day jobs. Who the hell else would ever do something like that? Hey, lady, wake the hell up. Everybody that's ever wanted a job in this industry has done that and is doing that and will continue to do that as long as there's jobs in this industry. That's the life which I tried to explain to you. But it's a little different when somebody's sitting across from you telling it to you than when you're actually in the van in hour 16 going, oh, this sucks. And then you get to your gig, the worker that you're working with, there's the shits, there's a 20-person house, and your promoter screws you on your payday. Yep, that sucks. That's the industry when you first start. You don't get to call your shots. You are bitches. Let's wake up, okay? Don't blame me because you got turned at the border. All right? It's not my fault. My God, what were you thinking? Oh, we're going down to work on an independent show. Yeah, you want to pull it in here? Unless I'm referring to customs. Guys, you know what I mean? Just a little common sense. You want to know what really pisses me off? There's other portions of that article. I'm going to jump to it because I remember Wayne had said that he was going to teach them the rights and the wrongs of the industry, and Mike was so thankful that he was taught this. Okay, do we have that? Can you find that for me? Sure. Because I don't want to jump out of key here, but I mean, that's the last point that I'm going to get across, because after that I'm done. I've said what I had to say.
How did I handle it? As professional as I could, said Haven, crediting Kreiderman once again for teaching her how to present herself in the locker room. Is that what you're referring to?
I'm sorry, no, that was Misty, but I'm assuring if she was presented properly, that Mike would have been presented properly as well, thanks to Kreiderman, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Here's a deal for the people that don't know. I had Michael booked for a show a couple summers back, 2003, I believe. If I'm a little foggy on the dates, so be it. I'm not tremendous with it. It was a botch show which was going to guarantee his pay and was also going to guarantee the pay that I couldn't give him for the prior show, which we lost a ton of money on. Mike said that there would be no problem, although the other two people, okay, mentioned earlier, would be at the CPW show, which was running on the same night. Fair enough. I took Mike's word for it because he was my, at that time, you know what I mean, was what I considered my protege. So be it. He was simultaneously booked on a CPW card, which ran the same night that my show ran. I got a phone call from Michael about a week prior to the event saying that he had hurt his back in the States. Once again, wrestling for a promoter which I guess he didn't know existed until he ran into Wayne, but this is, you know. And that he would not be wrestling for anybody for 5 weeks. I tried to get a hold of Mike all week. I left messages on his answering machine, no reply. The show came and went. We got through it. And I found out that Mike worked for Dan that night. So if that's the way y'all want to educate your bodies, Wayne, to lie and to basically You know what I mean? Tell the guy that broke him into the business as best as he could. And trust me, he was broken in properly. It's not my problem that he chose to go a different route that he was advised against. If that's the way you want to educate these people, that's fine. You know, feel free, but understand that the end that I did was proper. All right? I am for real. One last thing, the little bit about walking into shows with seeing all the other girls jumping on the wrestlers' laps and stuff like that.
Want me to take that?
I don't really need to,
Okay.
but you know it's in there. Steph, I'm not exactly sure what shows you're working that, you know what I mean, the boys are getting the girls jumping on their laps beforehand. Sure as hell wasn't my shows. And as far as you only wrestling one match, it's because you were the only girl we had. We were training Ray at the time. I wasn't about to let her go out just to satisfy you so you could have a match while she wasn't properly trained. The girl you worked with the night that you had your first match wasn't fully trained. And I made that mistake putting her in for you. And if I remember correctly, when you went to CPW, it was probably about 6 or 8 months before you even got a match. Best of my knowledge, you were valeting. Well, 3 months after you were gone, we were running stuff. And I had ladies' matches. So, once again, not my problem. I really, really legitimately feel sorry that you guys went down that path, especially for you, Mike, because, man, I put a lot of time into you. I really did. And you weren't bad. I'll give Corderman credit. He actually did say one thing in that article that was truthful. You weren't bad at the time. You had a long way to go. And you didn't, I'm sorry, I've seen some of the work that you've been doing. You didn't get it where you went. They didn't help you, They really, really didn't. They might have given you more work and made you feel like somebody, but you didn't further your career. Not in my opinion, Congratulations on your marriage, and best of luck to you in this industry. But enough with the storytelling, okay? I'm not into it. Not impressed. That's it.
All done?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, folks, you've been given the first half of what's proven to be an interesting, candid shoot interview with the cornerstone himself, Dave Dalton.
A couple people are upset.
Justifiably so. Wrestling's a very backstabbing business, and people have backstabbed Dave. He's had his piece, and we'll continue that on 21.
Yeah, since you didn't get enough of this openness and not holding back,
It's like a big
we're going to give you another episode, aren't we?
It's like a big AA meeting.
This was
just
not my
AA.
decision. This was not my decision. But we will be back with episode 21. More Dave Dalton, more honesty, more to share. So tune in for that next week.